Hi, everybody. Welcome to lesson 3 of the Creative Magic Workout. Um, Last week I had so much fun getting to know your trolls and getting reacquainted with my own trolls. And before we jump into this week's lesson, I want to remind you and your trolls of the ground rules. This is especially good for your trolls. These are the rules, trolls. These are not made up. Well, they are made up by me, but maybe your trolls will respect my authority. Who knows? Anyway, here are the rules. You are free to skip around and take from this whatever you want. If following the rules and the structure that I lay out works for you, follow it. If it doesn't, break it. Do it at your own pace. Do it the way it works for you. Rule number 2, when in doubt, try it out. Give it a shot, even if you don't think it will work. And rule number 3, you are doing this right. Whatever you're doing is exactly how you're supposed to be doing this. You are the authority on yourself. Okay, so that brings us to this week's topic, which is summoning champions. So we've made friends with our trolls, and we've realized that they can help us in addition to hindering us. Some of us may have hit trolls that are particularly thorny. Some of us may have found out that trolls we thought that, voices we thought were positive are actually trolls in disguise. I think Starfish called them smiling trolls. I love that term. So it's great then when you're on a quest of epic proportions, which we all are, to have someone on your side who's actively encouraging you, who's pushing you forward, and that can be in any number of ways. That doesn't mean that they're necessarily a happy, positive presence. It means they're helping you. They're an ally. They're a champion. They're a Little John to your Robin Hood. They're a Carrie Fisher to your Meg Ryan. Somebody who's on your side helping you do what you want to do. So that's what we're going to dig into today. But before we do that, let's warm up. And I thought I would do it a little differently this week. Instead of going through my warm-up routine for your benefit, for you to join in, what I'm going to do instead is ask you to pause the video right now and go through your own 10-minute warm-up, give or take, however many minutes you want to give to it. And you can use any or all of the elements that I use. Those elements being a short dance to a song that could be a song you loved when you were 14, could be a song that inspires you, some way of dancing it out, a moment of quiet, of closing your eyes and taking some deep breaths. I always like to put my hand on my heart when I do that. A moment of laughter. I find that making a fart sound is a great way to evoke laughter, but you could do it in a different way. Drawing. Again, I do the 2-minute self-portrait. You could also take that time to draw a troll or draw a vision or draw a dream or anything you want to draw. Some writing, 2 minutes of free writing. I like to do it as, what do I see in what I just drew, but you could do it on anything. And then finding a mantra out of what you drew. So circling 7 words and making them into some kind of a poem/mantra. That's the format I encourage, but I'm also encouraging you to come up with your own routine that is yours. So you're going to be tempted to not pause this and just keep going, but I'm going to ask you right now to pause and do that. Okay? Pause. Okay, are we back? So, since we're all back, let's all take a deep breath together. Whoever's watching this right now, let's put our hands on our heart and all take a deep breath. Fantastic. All right, let's dive in. So I have several exercises this week. that are all geared towards gathering your team of champions around you. And you can do all of these exercises, or you can just do the ones that excite you most. They're all different ways of getting in touch with the part of ourselves that is loving and helpful and confident. And so you might find that some of these speak to you more than others. You might find them all of them speak to you. I mean, I hope all of them do, but it's also okay if only some of them do. So let's start with exercise number 1. Finding your inner champion. I asked you last week to start keeping a list of encouraging thoughts, and I'd like you to get that out now if you have it, and we're going to add to it. So here are some questions to ask to generate that list right now. What encouraging thoughts were running through your head in the last 10 minutes? Maybe as you did your warm-up routine. What was awesome about the way you did it? What did you feel good about this week? What made you proud? What were you thinking in those moments about yourself? Think of someone else who did something that you admired. What caught your attention about their behavior? What were you drawn to about what they did? Try to remember all the compliments paid to you this week, big or small, and write them down. What did people say to you? Can you remember? Try filling in the blank for these statements. You are at your best when you blank. You have always been good at blank. You really know how to blank. You wish you could spend all your time what? Blank is one of your greatest strengths. Okay. Hopefully that's given you some material to generate a list of positive, encouraging thoughts about yourself. So now we're going to find the inner champion in those thoughts. Look over your list and circle 3 of them that stand out the most to you. I'm going to do now what I did when we were working with the trolls. I'm going to share with you my list to kind of give you an example of how this could look. Now, I want to take a moment here to point out, and this might be different. This is going to be different for everyone, but for me, for some reason, it's much harder to come up with a list of encouraging thoughts about myself, and I feel much weirder about sharing it. I didn't feel that weird about sharing my critical thoughts, but for some reason, I feel really embarrassed about sharing my positive thoughts about myself, which tells me a lot about myself. And I say that because you might be finding there's a difference, and I think that's interesting to think about. But I'm going to share this. This is the list I came up with. Here we go. Here it is. Here's what it says. You're really in the zone. This is your zone of genius. You are a great teacher. You stuck it out. You made a great meal even though you were sick and exhausted. You were there for your kid. Your kid loves and trusts you. You modeled how to take care of yourself and others. Your kid followed your lead. Way to listen to your instincts. You are such a badass and you don't even know it. You've always been good at reading. You've always been good at reading people. Also at reading, I guess. I'm really good at reading. But you've always been good at reading people and responding to their vibe. You really know how to improvise a great meal. Okay, yeah, that's it. I mean, it's a good size list. So I would say, it'd be good if you had a list around that size. And here are the things that stood out to me. I circled 3 different distinct ones. One being you stuck it out even though you were sick and exhausted. You were there for your kid. He loves and trusts you. You are such a badass and you don't even know it. So circle the 3 that kind of jump out to you as having kind of the most something for you, that stand out to you the most. And now I want you to just jot down associations that you have with those phrases. Do you hear someone in your mind saying them? Do you imagine somebody? Or does it remind you of someone? What kind of person would say that? Do any images or objects or actions come to mind? Any colors? Does it have just any associations that come up around those thoughts? So here I'm just, and then you're gonna do kind of what you did with the trolls. I want you to draw a picture of the champion you imagine that's saying that, and give them a name and a catchphrase. And the catchphrase could be the actual thought that you circled, or it could be something that's sort of a more general thing that they tend to be saying to you. So it could be that you circled 3 things that are all kind of the variation on the same champion, or it could be that they're different. In my case, the ones I circled are sort of 3 distinct modes. So here I'm just going to share with you what I came up with as examples. So for me, you stuck it out even though you were sick and exhausted. That one kind of brought up for me, associations of like, I wrote down this phrase, tough cookie, tough to impress, but smiling, kind of arms folded, like, I'm impressed. Okay, you did it. You stuck with it. It's this, I imagine, somebody who believes that I can do hard things, that believes in me, in my ability to tough it out. That's one not critic. Interesting. Could also be a critic, but we'll get to that later. So that's one champion. I just drew a picture of that. And I'm just going to call this one Tough Cookie. You can do hard things. Tough Cookie. That's one of my champions. The other one I circled was you were there for your kid. He loves and trusts you. And that one, for me, brought up associations of my Aunt Marion, who was a very gentle and loving, calm person. Super, super calm. So here was the picture I drew of her, just somebody who's just giving you a really warm hug, calling her gentle aunt believer. You can trust yourself. That's kind of the message that comes through for me, that you have good instincts. You can trust yourself. That's sort of just very accepting, loving presence. And then the third one I circled was, you were such a badass and you don't even know it. That for me brings up a totally different kind of an image. It's this sort of, who came to mind for me was, I don't know if anybody watched My So-Called Life. It made a big impression on me because I was like, I think 16 when it came out. Anyway, Rayanne, the best friend, that's who I just thought, like sassy best friend, like the person who's just like, you can do this. You are such a badass. Like, so here's a picture I drew of her. She's just the one who's kind of like, I dare you. Like, she's daring me to do something, or she knows I have a wild side. So those are, for me, those are the kind of 3 distinct champions. So come up with yours. And again, you might have 3 different modes. They might all be kind of 1, might be just 2. Who knows? Again, no wrong or right way to do this. And yeah. Okay, that's that one. You've got them. I want you to put them aside. We're going to come back to them. Okay, that was exercise 1. Your inner champions. They're there for you. I'm going to take a drink of tea. I have a little cold. And my gentle aunt believer thinks I should be taking care of myself. She's right. Okay, now we're going to move to exercise number 2. I call this one the Champion Seance. We're going to summon up someone in our past who was a champion for us. So I just want you to open up your mind and think of someone in your life that helped you in a profound way when you needed it. They could be a real person, like a teacher or a coach or a relative. They could be an imaginary person. Maybe it was a character in a book that you had a strong relationship to. Maybe it was Anne of Green Gables. Maybe it was somebody in a movie who showed you something you needed, someone who saved you. But whoever it is, it's someone that you feel a strong connection to, who helped you in some kind of way that that you can go to in your mind. So I want you to write their name down on a card, if you have it, or a piece of paper. And then I'd like you to turn the card over and write down 3 things. First, I want you to describe their face. If you're looking at their face, what do you see? What do you see reflected back at you? Second, I want you to write down what their superpower is. What are they able to do for you and for others? And the third thing is, what can they show you here, right now? What could they show you? Okay. Just because this might be helpful, I'm going to share with you what I wrote down. For me, I wrote down my Aunt Marion, who I was thinking about earlier. And I wrote down loving, serious, attentive. Her superpower is she takes people seriously. She believes in people for real. She really shows up for people that she loves. And what I'd like her to show me is how to lead, and how to build, what I can do to build community in my life. Okay, so now I would like you to join me in requesting their presence right here, right now. We're going to light a candle. Let's see here. Make sure this, well, I don't know if I can do this in a way that, let's see here. Okay. I'll light a candle. I'd like us all to close our eyes. Let's take a deep breath together. Hello. Hello, champion. We are requesting your presence here with us. We need your insight. We need your guidance. I'm going to say the name of my champion, and I want you to say out loud the name of your champion. Aunt Marion. We need you to show us how to love. You are serious. You are show us how to be there for the people we love. Show us help us to lead. Help us teach us how to build community. Teach us. Show us what we cannot see. We are requesting your presence, and we are asking for a sign. We are asking for you to demonstrate your presence, to let us know that you are here. And I'm going to sit here for a moment and wait for a sign. Are they here? Can you feel their energy? that aside. Let's take a deep breath together again. Let's shake that off. Let's move to exercise number 3. We're going to cultivate our list of heroes. So, first thing I want you to think about, who is someone who is doing something that you deeply admire in the world? And second thing is, what action or quote or song or phrase summons up their spirit for you? I'm going to share with you some of mine. And these are just sort of my ongoing list. I mean, this is not everybody on my list, but these are a few people that are on my list right now. Stevie Wonder, Neil Young, Judy Blume, and Patti Smith. And for each of them, there's something that kind of summons them up for me. Stevie Wonder, I just think he's got such beautiful, generous ambition, and I love his song Visions. And whenever I hear it, it just puts me into this meditative headspace. He's so musically talented, and yet it always feels like something generous that he's sharing. It never feels like it's at the cost of anyone else. So there's something about that keeps him on my always, towards the top of my list of heroes. Neil Young, for me, there's just one album that it's something about not being afraid to fail big and not being actually leaning into it, the way he leans into failure and believes in he seemed more excited sometimes about his songs. He just doesn't seem to be in any way hampered by failing or by singing badly or by those fears. So there's just one album that really that does that for me, that summons that up for me. And I'm blanking, of course, on the name of that album right now, but these are just examples for you. Judy Blume is somebody else who's on my list. She's somebody who's just bravely telling the truth and following where it leads. And for me, Tiger Eyes is I just love that title. I love that book. I love so that to me summons up her spirit to me. And so those are three of mine, but I encourage you to just, come up with your list of your heroes, the people who are living out your values in like a way that calls you to action, that inspires you, that reminds you of what you think is important. And then I want you to just ask these questions about each of the heroes on your list. What do you love about them and their approach to life? What are they doing that you wish you could do? What did they do to get where they are? And this can be as wide open or as specific. I mean, if I'm inspired by Judy Blume's career and I could say, like, I want literally to have the life, well, what did she actually do? I could research her life and exactly how she built her career. So whatever that means to you, what can you learn from their failures? What is it about their success that calls to you? What about their ideas gets your heart beating fast? Those are some questions. There's a ton more questions that you could ask, but those are some good ones to start with. So, okay. So you've got your list of heroes. You've got your a champion from your past that you've summoned, that you've asked into the room. You've got your inner champions that you've come up with. I want you to look, gather all of them. And first of all, I want you to arrange them in a way that visually catches your eye. So maybe you want to put them all in one page of your journal. Maybe you want to make a big poster board and put them up on your poster board and have them up on like a wall of your bedroom or your office. In my case, I've actually, you can see back there, I have a picture of Judy Blume and Stevie Wonder that I actually laminated. This was kind of a cheat. This is, sorry for the tangent, but a little bit of a cheat because I actually made a show and I did that for the show, but it was actually just for me. And one of the beautiful, so this is where one of those instances where a project can be an excuse to just do the things you want to be doing. And in that case, it meant that I have laminated, pictures of my heroes that I can just take with me anywhere. So, yeah, but you could also, maybe you want to put pictures on the cover of your journal. Maybe you want to write catchphrases. Maybe you want to draw things that summon up your heroes. Anyway, the point is for you to take some time to arrange your champions visually, so they catch your eye, and so that they're going to be something that you see in some way every day, so that they can stay in your active field of vision. And so that's the first thing. And then, as you go about your week, I just want you to, when you hit a point where you are stuck, or there's an obstacle, or you encounter a troll that seems particularly intractable, you can summon a champion to your aid, whichever champion feels like the right one for you to summon, and you can ask them for guidance. You can literally ask, what would you do in this situation? What would you like me to do? What would you suggest I do? Is there something I'm not seeing here? What would you do if you were in this situation? And that's it. I just, they're there, and I encourage you as you're going about your week to just summon them when you're in difficult times and ask for their help. Ask for their guidance as tangibly as you can. And that's really the assignment. It's deceptively simple because you might, if again, coming back to how difficult it can be, you might, if you're like me, find that it's actually really easy to go about your day and push aside those champions that are already there, or the championing thoughts in your own mind. So the challenge for you as you go about your week is to really lean into that part of yourself, really summon up those encouraging thoughts and those encouraging people in your life that are already there in your imagination and in your world. And just as much as you can, surround yourself with that energy. I did want to say one note about trolls versus champions, and we'll get into this in the Q&A this week also. But somebody pointed out in last week's Q&A about trolls that sometimes a troll can kind of be a champion in disguise, and on the flip side, a troll that looks really friendly can actually be can be a troll. I think in the same way, somebody can. It's not a. Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is it's not a clear and distinct line. This is not really like two camps. There's trolls and there's champions. These are really all just tools for you to be looking at your own mind and your own thoughts. And I'm sure for you, you have an experience like mine, which is that they can morph, they can change. A troll can also be a champion. A champion can also be a troll. 1 week something might work, and then it might be different the next week. So that's all okay. These are all tools to kind of try to get some clarity and put some frames around your thoughts so that you can use them a little bit more proactively to do what you want to be doing in the world. So, having said all that, here are your assignments for the week. If you feel comfortable, I would love you to share your champions in the Facebook group and maybe share what their advice is. Share what they have to say to you. Keep doing your creative practice, even if it's just 5 minutes a day. Keep at it. Keep sharing your progress or sharing your ideas as they're developing, your projects as they are taking shape. And if you'd like to keep working with your trolls, you are totally welcome to keep working with your trolls. If you'd also like to take a break from trolls, you can take a break from working with trolls. You might want to just focus on champions this week. Totally up to you. Last thing, keep your eyes open for visual reminders of your champions when you're out in the world. I want you to keep your eyes open for visual. I want you to imagine that your champions are sending signs to you. And it's your job to notice them and see them. So a talisman, or maybe it's a song you hear in a cafe, or a magical object that appears in your path. Just keep your eyes open for those, and when you notice them, take a moment to stop and see if you can figure out what they're trying to tell you. That's it. That is it for this week. It's been really wonderful to summon up champions with you. I can't wait to hear who your champions are, to meet your champions, and I can't wait to talk about this more in the Q&A call on Wednesday. Let's all put our hands on our hearts and close our eyes. Let's take one more deep breath. And I'd like you to think back on what you've taken in over the last 45 minutes or so, and just let one image or word float into your consciousness. One image or word. Write that down, or you can draw it. Okay. Whew. Good luck to you, and I'll talk to you on our call. This is little big sister Nimbus, championing you, championing myself. Okay. Good luck to you.